Hello, Aquaculture tribe. Hope you're all well and you are having not that troublesome COVID-19 times, which we are still living in. Today's video is a little bit different compared to our previous topics on our channel, Aquaculture Tribe. Today we will be discussing about the sustainability and the ingredients and the different ingredients which are coming in the future in the aqua feeds and other topics related to that. Before we start today's discussion, I would like to tell you guys a story. You might wonder, where did I disappear in the winter time as I was absent from Aquaculture Tribe? Yeah, so I actually disappeared not because of very cold and dark Nordic winters, but I actually disappeared for having a course called Sustainable Business Strategy from Harvard Business School. And in that course, I met a friend who was also taking the course in the cohort, and then we had a discussion. And this friend said that eating fish maybe is not that sustainable, and maybe you should not eat fish. And she started to ask me different questions, as we also had some course material and case study related to the seafood in our course. So we get quite deep into this discussion that what should we do? And to be very honest, it was quite striking questions, because it's like also there are claims like the wild stock fisheries are actually being destroyed because of their inclusion in the aquaculture feed. It is quite disturbing claim, and there are lots of people who are actually having this very common belief that aquaculture production is not sustainable. They blend the wild caught fish with aquaculture quite a lot. So we will address these questions today. So let's dive in. So before we go further on, I would like to tell you guys a little bit about the history of aquaculture feed and how this thing started. In 50 to 60 years ago, when some farmers they were actually trying to try to domesticate, especially salmon specifically, they were actually coming up with the fish raw fish material and they were buying it from the fisherman, and they were actually feeding that to their fish at the sea cage farm. And that's how they learned that the fish like to eat fish, and fish eat fish became a common you can say talk of the town, that this is the fish which is eating the fish. And that's and moving forward in those times, before we move forward, in those times when it started off, it was 70 to 80% of the especially the cold water fish like salmon. The diet consisted of the raw fish, or the fish which was like normally the fish material, not maybe specifically raw, but you can say that lots of it was fish meal. Moving forward came the 1990s. The farmers, they start to understand and start to learn also from the other land-based animal farm production that the plant-based materials, they could be used also into the feed, and they could be incorporated into their diets for the salmon farming or the marine species farming. And then further on, they actually started to lower their fish consumption in the diets of the fish, and so much so that it became 50%. By 1990, they were using only 50% coming from the marine raw materials. Moving on, with more techniques being developed to use the plant-based ingredients in a more nicer way, then they further on moved to incorporate more and more of them in the feed. And by 2020, according to some studies, it shows that in the regular diet today for the fish, you only have from 10 to 15% of the raw material which is coming from marine ingredients. So this was about the history and present. So now let's talk a little bit about the future of this direction. So as you might have heard also like about some seaweed, you might have heard about seaweed, you might have heard about microalgae. So we'll talk a little bit about different ingredients to have some idea. So you in the nature, the fish in the ocean, they eat seaweed, they eat the microalgae, they eat the single cell protein, the bacteria, they eat different types of ingredients, and also the insects. So these days, so you have the ingredients where the where are very close to what fish eats in the nature. And then you have the scientists working on to scale up these ingredients so that you can have them at a bigger scale. For example, seaweed and also microalgae are started to become available to be used in the diets of the fish. And further on, you might have heard about the insects, which is also taking a lot of traction, and you know, the insects are also becoming the part of the diet of modern day fish feed. And further on, you have like some ingredients like single cell protein, which is also one of the ingredient which actually fish does eat when they are in their early stage of life. So it is also coming. Oh, what happened now? I think it's too much smoke in here. Oh, okay. So it's the carbon dioxide. Sorry. So the carbon dioxide is going to try to make protein from. And imagine carbon dioxide. I wouldn't like to eat it. Maybe you guys would like to eat it. Okay. No. Maybe nobody would like to eat it. I'm sorry to say that. But maybe fish will like to eat it. A protein coming from the carbon dioxide. So this is really seems like quite an interesting journey for the whole the feed ingredient selection when you are going to make some feed. And this is and it has took some time. It's not perfect yet, but it is taking some time. And if I say, in my understanding, when I say down the road it will be improving, so we are talking about 5 to 10 years, we might have a very different feed for overall animal nutrition and also for the fish. So this you might have understood a little bit. Okay, before we finish this video, I would also like to address one of the questions which I just remembered, and that is, does fish eat fish? Yes, fish eat lots of fish, and they eat each other all the time in the nature. Yes, in the open oceans, you have the fish eating fish eating each other, and this is very normal behavior. And they do eat each other. But when you are farming this fish, it's up to you if you are feeding it the fish or not. So this is something, and one of the thing you must understand. You might ask, like, from where these raw materials are coming from when it comes to also the marine raw ingredients, which are actually now consisting 10 to 15%. So the thing is, most of it is coming from the leftover human consumption. So some of the fish which is not actually available to the humans as their clean diet. So this is being further on processed to make a fish meal, so that later on you take it into the fish feed itself, and as a result of that you are getting your omega-3s from that. So I hope I have addressed some of these some of these things which we discussed about in the start of the video, and I think we will continue this journey to understand this more going forward on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed the channel, please subscribe. And please like this video and share it with your friends so that everybody can understand a little bit of this thing going forward. Food is very important for our planet, and we will be keep discussing about this further on. And thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Bye bye.